Thanks everyone who's joined. This is kind of, I think, maybe our first ever, or at least the first that I've ever been a part of all members meeting. This is actually a suggestion that was put forth by Delisa, who I think I see is on the call.
There she is.
Give all the members and kind of an overview of what all we did last year and kind of what we're working on this year. As well as like an update of who our board members are and kind of what our volunteer needs will be going forward. And we have a presentation. Let me share my screen. See the slides?
Yep.
I do. It's in presentation mode though, Tracy. So just FYI.
You see it
where
in
I can see.
presentation mode?
Yeah, it's where I can see the first slide and then the next slide coming up. So I'm sorry, presenter mode, not presentation mode.
Is that what you see too, Mark?
Yeah, I see what Andrew's describing.
Yep.
It's you need the presentation. Okay, there we go. And then hit that show icon. Oop, it went back. That's it. That should be it. Slideshow. Yeah,
There you go.
there we go.
But did you, when I was in presentation mode yesterday, did you see it the other way or?
When we did it yesterday, it came across this way. So we hadn't, when we were testing, we didn't see the that weird presenters mode.
Okay, well, I can't see the notes in this mode though.
Oh, you're supposed to be able to see that in another screen, aren't you?
Well, that's what I thought this presentation mode or presenter mode was.
It's okay. We're just seeing the next slide, which is fine. We're not seeing your notes.
I see the notes.
You see the notes?
Oh,
or you don't?
I see them now.
Yeah.
And I can wing it and try to remember the notes.
Oh.
See
We'll
how
read
it
along
goes.
with you. It'll be a little sing along.
You're in good company, Tracy. It's fine.
All righty.
We won't judge you.
Let's get it rolling. The only one president's one's one I'll have to really go for. Okay, so yeah, the first slide we just wanted to put in. We basically have here what our motto is, which is a place for every pace, as well as we are a 401c3 nonprofit, and as part of our charter, kind of the main goal of our charter is right here, the promoting health and fitness through long distance running and walking and other physical activities and educating the public regarding the same. The agenda for today, we're really just going to do a 2022 year in review. And then we'll also look kind of ahead at 2023 and what we have planned. Then also go through volunteer opportunities, show you who is on the board of directors. And then finally, we're going to have an ask us anything. If you see in the Zoom, there should be a Q&A there. You want to go ahead and as questions pop up in your head, you can click on the Q&A and write out a question. You can also, if you see other people's questions that you want to hear answered, there's a upvote. So instead of just repeating that question, you can do an upvote to see to make sure that answer gets in the top of the line, or that question gets the top of the line as far as what gets answered. So our 2022 membership, just kind of give you a quick overview of where our membership has been, where it's going. In 2021, we had 429 members. And then last year, we had 490 members. So we showed some pretty decent growth in 2022. And then in 2023, we're currently up to 568 members so far. So over the last couple of years, we've seen some pretty good growth over the overall member numbers. And we also wanted to show we have just recently added a free trial membership. Historically, we've kind of always let people just kind of come in and run with us to try the club out and encourage that. But as far as with we have insurance through the Road Runners Club of America. And as part of that insurance, we're kind of required that anybody that runs with us has a waiver. So this free trial membership also helps us in that front, is that as people sign up for a free trial membership for 30 days, they'll also be signing that waiver that will help us be covered under insurance. We also added a quick slide with weekly runs. A lot of you might already know what the weekly runs are, but if you haven't, we have quite a few runs. On Sunday mornings, we have a run at Fort Bend that during the summer months it starts at 7:30 and kind of over through the fall and winter and spring. They run at 8 a.m. in the morning at Fort Bend. And then on Mondays, we actually meet. We have this kind of a newer run club that we've made kind of official with Indy Runners. I think they had run for a few years, and this has kind of become an official club run now for Indy Runners. It meets at 5:45 a.m. at the Anthony and YMCA. And then Tuesdays, a lot of you I'm sure you are familiar with the Run and Walk that meets at 6 p.m. at Hinkle Fieldhouse. And then Wednesday, we meet 6 p.m. at the Anthony and YMCA downtown. And Thursday, we meet, we have 6 p.m. We meet at Runners Forum in Broad Ripple. And then again, the Saturday run, most of you are familiar with as well, is Broad Ripple currently at the St. Vincent's Ascension parking lot. Again, the summer, we meet at 7:30. And kind of from the fall to the spring, we meet at 8 a.m. And then if you go to our website, and there's a section where you can look at the club runs. There's basically, you can expand on this and see a little more details as far as parking and the contact for the person if you have any more questions about any of these specific runs. So 2022 races. The Groundhog was unfortunately canceled last year. We had a bit of snow and ice right before the run was supposed to happen, and the sidewalks didn't get cleared in time. So in abundance of caution, we just went ahead and canceled 2022. We did have it this year, 2023, and it was a great success. We had a really good turnout. This is the picture from 2023. And we raised over $3,500 for the donations that went to the Zionsville Food Bank. And just kind of a note, as we kind of discussed earlier, as far as volunteers go, it usually does take about 16 volunteers to run that event. Anywhere from, set up the course, being sentries on the course. And if you've never heard of a sentry is basically somebody that just kind of stands at a corner and makes sure the runners are going in the right direction. We have a water stop on this race as well. And then people to do registration and post-race cleanup, pre-race setup, things like that. Our biggest race that we currently host is the Sam Costa, which last year we had about 850 participants signed up. And it is all the funds go directly back to Indy Runners. This is a race that's put on by us. And so last year we earned approximately $3,500. We there was a lot going on. We had canceled the 2 previous years, so there's kind of been registration over a couple of years, and it was good to finally put it on. And as I mentioned, this is our biggest race in participants. It's also our biggest race as far as volunteers required. We do the half marathon and a quarter marathon, and it requires over 150 volunteers to put on. And that's we have people volunteering. Our past president Trina just went out and put some early signs that warn people in the neighborhoods that will be coming through for their race. And then we have a Friday night crew that comes in, or a Friday crew that comes in and helps starting set up things, getting things prepared. We have Saturday morning people for registration and course setup as well. And then, of course, during the race, we have it takes quite a few centuries, as well as we have several water stops, and then we have finish line folks, and then again we have people after the finish, as well as people to tear down and get everything else put away. So this race is the one that's coming up this coming weekend. We're still looking for volunteers. So if anybody's interested, and even if you're running, we do have some volunteer spots where you can run and still volunteer as well. If you're not running, we'd love for you to come out and help volunteer for it. Our next race is the Bulldog Jog. The Bulldog Jog is actually so just for reference, Sam Costa's in March, Bulldog Jog's in April. And this last year in 2022, we had 610 participants. Again, those funds are it's kind of a joint venture. We have the Bulldog Jog with Indy Runners and with Butler. So of the funds, we raised $3,200 each. That went to Butler's HRC students program, as well as Indy Runners Giving Back initiatives. And then another $1,200 was raised to go to the Indy Humane Society. And the Bulldog Jog is our second biggest event. It requires about up to 50 volunteers. This year we'll be doing a 5K and a 10K. So again, I think we do still have some volunteer needs. And again, yeah, it will be here about a month away now. Then our next race is the charity cross country race. This is basically just a straight charity race where we basically all the money that anybody pays for registration goes to a charity. And it's a really cool event. If you haven't run it, it's basically a cross country 5K event, and people put together teams. We have some what we call anchor charities. So we have 4 charities that basically anybody can join, that they're the charities that normally run almost every year. And again, anybody can join them, or you can set up your own charity. And the race is age graded as well, which is kind of unique. And basically the winning team has a certain amount donated. And then we also have a drawing for other donations, as well as the donations. Half the donations are split between your team, or from your entry also go to your own charity. I believe that's correct. Brian can correct me if I'm wrong or not. So just kind of recap, nearly 3,000 was donated to several of the different charities last year. And over the last 5 years, we've totaled $13,000 donated. Then this coming year, we will be back at North Central, and that's going to be on Monday, Labor Day, September 4th. Again, it's kind of a pretty low-key event, so it really only requires 6 volunteers. We need some people to help with setup and helping with registration more than anything else. Some of our other club events outside the races. So the spring training program, hopefully a lot of you guys are familiar with. We currently have 192 people, or last year we had 192 people signed up. Just for reference, this year we're at 228. This is a spring program that usually starts sometime in January and kind of leads up to the mini marathon, where we train for the mini. We have Tuesdays we're currently doing where you kind of have the option of just kind of running for people that just want to finish the mini or a half a marathon. You can just run a standard route on the towpath, or we now kind of have a different program for people that want to get faster, where we do speed work and hill work and different kind of workouts on the Tuesdays as well. And then Saturdays are generally the long runs. And for the spring training program, we usually are recruiting coaches and pacers. So historically, we've had way back in the day, we had pacers for all the pace groups. We've kind of switched things up now, and we kind of are going more towards the coaching model. We have just more of a few coaches that should be that are there with you see with the bibs on to kind of help give people direction. And we also could always use people on Saturdays and Tuesdays with like course marking and coolers, putting out coolers and things like that. Also the fall training program, it's pretty similar to the spring training program. We don't really have official coaches and we don't open registration. It's more just, whoever wants to show up and run comes and runs as far as, as you're a member with the club. But we do have that more geared towards the monumental, and we do have kind of a half program as well as a full marathon program in the fall. So we have mileage laid out, and it's historically mainly been on Saturdays. We're looking to maybe change that going forward this year. But again, it's kind of a dedicated group that shows up Saturdays. We have a route planned, we have coolers out, we have markings for people to go and participate, where you can kind of run without having to worry about necessarily maybe carrying water or kind of figuring out your own route. You have people to run with. One of our other big club events is Run the Monon. So at the end of the fall training program, usually our last long run of the year, 3 weeks usually before the monumental, we've been doing what we call Run the Monon. I think we're in around the 12th year now. So basically what the Run the Monon is basically what we do is we meet somewhere. Historically, we had met downtown, and buses would come pick you up, and we would have two different routes. For the half marathon, you would be dropped off at 75th Street. For the full marathon, you'd be dropped off at 146th Street. And from there, you would run back downtown. And then once you get downtown, we'd have food there and drinks, and you can kind of hang out and chat with people. It's a lot of fun, really nice, easy. For a 20 miler, it's about as easy as it gets, and it's a lot of fun. We have coolers out again and everything, so you don't have to worry about bringing all your own gear. This last year was a little bit of a mix-up because of all the construction on the Monon. We weren't really sure what would be open or not, so instead of running from downtown, we actually met at Broad Ripple and bused people up to Sheridan. So the picture you see here is basically the very end of the Monon is where a lot of folks started for the 20 miler, and then ran back down to Broad Ripple to Merritt Park. And then again, we had Jimmy John's afterwards, and people were allowed to hang out and socialize. And then finally, kind of our last big event of 2022 is our Christmas Lights Run. So we always have a really big turnout for the Christmas Lights Run. We just meet at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Usually a pretty short run, short, compared to what we do a lot of the other times, but it's basically, around 4-ish miles or so, depending on what route you take. But we do have routes marked throughout, like the Meridian Kessler neighborhood. It goes through a lot of the houses that have really nice lights put up. So We usually have like hot chocolate or wassail or and some cookies and candy canes and stuff like that afterwards for people to hang out. So we always have a really good turnout for that run. As you see, last year we were around 75 or so participants. And then, so one of the things I did this last year, this is my second year as being the president. My term ends in June. And I really didn't do anything in 2021, but so to make up for that, I selected two people for the President's Award to kind of cover 2021, 2022. And through this presentation, I talked a little bit about the volunteering work and the things that go on. I mean, these two people do so much work for the club behind the scenes that, you know, it's just really kind of amazing the amount of dedication they have to this club. So I mean, Brian Sheeter, for one, he's a lot of people, probably more club members than anybody know Brian Sheeter. He's our medical liaison. He's also the race director for the Groundhog. He's the race director for the Bulldog Jog. He's the race director for the cross country charity race. He has been hosting the Run the Monon. He is historically the one that puts on the fall training program. He's kind of our do-it-all guy. He's just always been there. He does a ton of work for the club. He's also out there doing some of the little work as well, putting out signs, putting in water, doing things like that. He kind of spearheaded a few years ago the water fountain project. So that water fountain that you see on Butler, just off of 52nd or 49th Street. That's Brian's work that he did to raise the money. So Brian's been, you know, a huge asset to the club and always done just, you know, everything that's asked and then more for this club. And then the other guy is Brian Cake. Brian Cake's probably more of the behind the scenes guy. Some of you guys might not know Brian. He does come to a lot of Saturday runs. But Brian's been our webmaster for as long as I've been a member of the club, at least, as well as he is there a lot of times on Tuesdays or Saturdays, even if you don't see him on the runs. He's one of those guys that's putting out signs and putting out water and doing those kind of little things that make your run so much easier on a Saturday or Tuesday. He's also very involved in all the races. The Sam Costa, he's also one of the ones that comes out and gets all the coolers ready and all the water filled and everything set up for the race. He's also in charge of the water stop for the Groundhog. Again, just so many things that he does for the club behind the scenes that people don't know about, that, you know, without these two, you know, the club just wouldn't be the same. So again, thank you both for the work, and it was really my honor to be able to give them both the President's Awards. Another thing that happened in 2022 is Erica Wells Memorial Scholarship Program. Erica was a past member of ours. Some of you probably have met her, and some of you didn't. She unfortunately passed in a biking accident, but she had always been a huge member of the community as well as Indy runners. She was a pacer for Indy runners. She was a teacher and just always one of those generous people that would, you know, give you a shirt off the back for anybody that needed it. So she always had a smile. She's one of those people that would just light up a room when she came in. Just a great person and a great way to honor our scholarship winners was to name the program after her. And this year we had 3 winners, which each got a $750 scholarship. As you listed below, we have Ashley Flick, who went to Ron Colley High School and is now going to Notre Dame. You have Caitlin Schwab, who went to Pike High School and is now going to Purdue. And then Daniel Otomosu, who went to Pike High School as well and is now at IUPUI. And one thing, the club members have been so unbelievably generous as far as donations go. As a lot of you probably remember when you sign up, there's a screen where you can go to basically donate more if you would like. And those donations go to the scholarship funds. And we've got so many donations over these last few years that we're kind of upping our scholarship now, where we'll be giving out 3 $1,000 scholarships for this year. And the scholarship program is open now. You can reach out or contact us if you need more information. The scholarships go to someone in Marion County. They don't necessarily have to be a part of any official running club or any running, track or anything like that. Just there is an essay, and we basically, as a committee, usually within the board, basically take all the scholarship entries and pick from there. So 2023, the year ahead. A lot of similar things that you'll see from what we just went over. We're currently going through the spring training program. So appreciate everybody that's joined the program so far. We've had great turnouts. We've had really, in the last several years, more than I can remember this year, we've really had a consistent turnout over the last 8 weeks or so. A lot of times, especially on a day like Saturday, I feel like historically last 5 years or so, we've maybe had, 30, 20 people or so show up, and, we were a good 50 strong this last Saturday. So it was great to see. The 52nd Sam Costa, again, coming up Saturday, and we mentioned that. Then the Bulldog Jog, which we mentioned as well, will be coming up April 22nd. And then the fall training program, which we have a couple months off from the spring training program. The fall training program will start in July officially, again, when we kind of start the official routes and the official runs in July. Again, the cross country race, which I alluded to before, is going to be on Labor Day, September 4th. We will have the monumental course preview, which we've had historically. That's part of the fall training program. Usually we have the folks from the monumental come out. Oftentimes they're offering discounts and things like that. And we kind of run a preview of the course. We always have a good turnout for that as well. We mentioned the Run the Monon. Depending on what kind of work they're doing on the Monon, we might have to get creative with the route, and we haven't really decided yet whether that will be a run downtown or a run to Broad Ripple. We'll just kind of see how that rolls. Monumental cheer zone. So when the Monumental Marathon happens, hopefully you've seen us. If you run the Monumental about 3/4 away from the finish line, us along with 5 other clubs or so usually set up tents and basically stay there for almost until the very last person finishes to cheer them on. And historically, we've had like pancakes and sausages or French toast, as well as hot chocolate and coffee and things like that for you to have afterwards to come. So we always encourage you, if you run the Monumental, to stop back by to the cheer zone and hang out. Share your stories, socialize, as well as cheer the other runners as they come in. Again, the Christmas lights run, we'll be doing something similar than we did last year. Club socials, one thing with the pandemic, the last couple of years, we really haven't had a lot of club socials. We're really kind of working with our social committee and Angelica, our social director, to kind of start adding more socials this year. Or other events. just to kind of get people to socialize more and meet other people outside of your own little pace group that you normally run with. This year we are in the middle of planning for after the mini club picnic. I think we finalized location. It's going to be at Fort Benjamin Harrison. We're going to have it at a shelter there. We'll have a picnic. We're planning on doing some catering, some food, and some other activities. Possibly maybe a little club, trail run if you want to do that before the picnic. But that's currently scheduled for, I believe, May 20th. And you'll see more details on that coming up as we finalize the plans. We also have on here giving back opportunities similar to socials. With the pandemic, we haven't done as many giving back opportunities as we would like. Historically, we've done things like, working at Gleaners, or we've done a plogging event, any kind of pickup trash event along the trails. Or, we've helped at the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, things like that. We're hoping to kind of get a couple more events like that on the agenda for this coming year to give back to our community more than we've been given. So those are the main things we have for 2023. And I mentioned a lot of these, but volunteer opportunities, kind of hopefully, as you've heard over this presentation, we have a lot of opportunities for volunteer, and a lot of things go into running this club. So I'll just kind of run through them really quickly. Training pacers and coaches. Again, for spring training program, we try to get as many pacers or coaches as we can get. We've gotten a few less this year than we typically get. So, maybe keep that in mind if you've done the program, even if you've done it just once, or heck, even if you never participated in it before, it's really good if you've, even if you've run in just a few half marathons or anything like that. It doesn't take a lot to be a coach or a pacer, but there are a lot of people out there that it's their first time ever running a half marathon, and it's really beneficial to get some insight and expertise from people that have run it before. Training plans management. This kind of just refers to the spring training and fall training plans. Again, it does take some work to kind of map out exactly, what our training plans are going to be for our Tuesdays and Saturdays, and, kind of map them around other events that are happening in the community, or, whether it's our races or other things that are happening that we might need to move different training plans around. Butler game ticket taking. Trina runs our Butler Games ticket taking program. And so for return of the access that we get as we meet at Hinkle Fieldhouse on Tuesday, we've had this long relationship with Butler, to where we take tickets at their men's basketball games and some of the bigger women's basketball games as well. So that's a long time relationship we've had with them. We have a great group of people that do 10 plus games for us as far as taking tickets, but usually there are some openings that we're looking to fill in the springtime as the Butler games are happening, to get some ticket taking opportunities. Committees, I'll cover those on another slide. Weekly run setups, I kind of alluded to this earlier. The cooler, snacks, tent, course markings, all that. You have people setting up in advance. They usually don't take a lot of work, but it's just something that somebody has to bring every week, and it's just something that somebody has to do. And we have a lot of times where the 2 or 3 core of us people that do it, might be gone or out of town for whatever reason. So it's always helpful to have several people available to bring coolers or mark the courses as necessary. Races and events, obviously a big one. We went over all the races, especially the Bulldog Jog, the Sam Costa. We we need people to work the water stations, on-site registration, big pickup, course markings, course entries, setup and breakdown. You know, we have our own bullet point for Sam Costa. It's been part of the Indy runner since 1982, and it's on its 52nd year. So it's a very volunteer intensive race. And again, you know, I emphasized earlier, if you want to volunteer, please reach out, or please, go to the Sam Costa side. We have registration open. We have a lot of positions in need to fill. Marketing and design. We do do a little marketing, basically, as far as we have Sam, who's our marketing director right now, who's doing a really great job as far as trying to figure out ways to help create outreach within the community, to let people know who we are and what we're doing, as well as make sure we're getting the right messaging out. And then same with social media posting. I'm sure if you guys have come to the runs, we get a lot of pictures taken, and we have a lot of events and a lot of things going on. So it's actually kind of almost a job that we need somebody to help with. And I know Sam and Delisa has also volunteered to help to cover the social media and post and allow people outside the club to kind of realize what we're doing, and how we're doing it, and make sure we have that posted. Photography, video, I kind of mentioned, Mark Nickerson does a great job for us at taking a lot of pictures at the club. But even between the club and the races, we do a lot of photography. We don't do a lot of video, but I mean, we're always open. If somebody has those kind of skills and wants to help out, I know actually Angelica this past weekend did a kind of cool little reel, or whatever you call them, on social media, as far as some video of our Saturday run, which was really cool. On the newsletter right now, we have Molly Morfeld, who does our main newsletter with a runaround on Tuesday. Again, that does take a little bit of work to do, to gather all the information, as well as, and then we kind of have to import all the members, as well as get everything together and design it as well. And then Grant Carpenter, who's also our sponsorship chair director, also is currently doing our Friday newsletter as well. So kind of I think a reoccurring theme you'll hear is we have a lot of people doing a lot of jobs. So just let you know. Then we have a blog. You might not know we have a blog. The blog's been pretty intermittent. I've done some blog posting. Jesse Davis, who some of you might know, that recently moved to Nebraska, our past president and past running community legend, when he moved away, he did the blog a little as well. So if anybody has any interest in doing blogging, we always have a lot of material that can be blogged out. It's whether you have ideas yourself, or a lot of us have ideas, we just don't usually get to the time to actually do the blogging itself. Club socials, again, we can discuss we have a committee. We also have Angelica Mertre, who's currently the social director as well. Cheer zones, specifically, we mentioned the Monumental, where we have a cheer zone where we have the tent set up, and we do some cooking and things for the race. We do set up tents at some of the other races, the 317 races. We usually have our tent there. Obviously, all our own races, we'll have stuff at those races, as well as some of the other races around town as needed. Some of the time, we get invited to bring our tent, and whether we just don't have enough people there, or we don't have enough people, somebody to take the tent. So again, that's just something that we could you always use help with if you're available and want to kind of set up a cheer zone for us. Scholarship application review. So again, this is, I mentioned, we kind of went through the scholarships. We usually get a fair amount of scholarship applicants. So there is a process to review it. Currently, we have Jim Patton and Molly and Morfeld again that kind of run our scholarship program and kind of organize that and make sure we have all the that scholarship application review happens well. Giving back, again, kind of mentioned we really haven't done a lot of giving back in the last few years. So if there's anything you're passionate about and you want to kind of put the club's resources behind it, you can always reach out and we can try to put together something for any charities you think that are be very useful around the community. Seminars. So mainly we had the seminars on Tuesdays for the spring training program. They vary from, like Address to Success is one of our first ones where we basically kind of go through kind of what you should be wearing during runs or different advice for new runners. We also we had a great nutrition seminar a few weeks ago. And again, that's one of those things where, whether we open it up in the fall training program or even in spring training program, we're always looking for ideas for seminars. Right now, Jim Patton for the spring training program put together all those seminars. So thank him if you've liked doing those in the past. But again, always looking for ideas, or somebody that can that you think would be interesting as far as doing seminars for our clubs. And it doesn't just have to be STP. We've discussed doing other seminars on whether it's after our Saturday runs or not even during a run, if it's something that we think is really important to our running group. One thing that we've discussed a lot, we just haven't got off the ground yet, is like a safety seminar where we can get some knowledge leaders together to basically discuss with our club or with the running community as a whole, how to improve the safety, or how we can help improve the safety of the running community. It's just kind of an idea that we want to do. We just haven't quite got it together. And if that's something you're really passionate about, we'd love to have somebody lead that. I put on community outreach on here. One thing it's really has kind of been difficult, I think, for us to do in the past is kind of reach outside of the traditional running community. We have our Facebook page. We kind of know how to be visible in the running community, but whether it's reaching out to businesses, whether it's partnering with them to help them achieve fitness goals, or whether that's them helping volunteer or us helping volunteer with them, just kind of maybe broadening our scope in the community outside of just again the running community itself. And then finally, a volunteer incentive program. This is something that started a few years back, right before the pandemic hit. Then the pandemic hit and it kind of screeched to a halt. But Kristen Miller is basically helping kind of kickstart this again. And basically what the intent of this volunteer incentive program is we're kind of tracking the folks that are volunteering for us. We'd like to kind of have regular leaderboard showing, and then at the end of the year, we're going to have some kind of awards, as well as giving gifts to the folks that have really made this run club what it is, as far as doing all the volunteering work behind the scenes to help this club. I mentioned committees earlier. So the committees, currently we have a marketing committee. Again, we kind of mentioned, what all marketing entails with social media, as well as, again, just general marketing of the club. And Sam Lozier right now is our marketing director. But again, we kind of have a committee to kind of try to help to spread the load amongst several people and to come up with hopefully innovative ideas to help improve our marketing. Social committee, we have a social committee. Again, this is something we're trying to really kind of kick off and get off the ground a little more, to have some more socials and have some more fun events for all the committee, or for all the run club members. Race committee. This is a club, again, kind of trying to re-kick and get off the ground and kind of reimagine what we need to do for this run committee or the race committee. But theoretically, what, we again, we have all these races, and it would really help to, have some more volunteers to help lead things, like whether it's, helping with the volunteers or helping with, just communication and things like that. Spring training committee. So again, the spring training is happening right now. And so it takes a lot to put on the spring training program. Again, you had people reaching out to try to find the coaches and the pacers. Nina, we have Jim, who I mentioned with the seminars. Hopefully a lot of you guys met Jeff Daler, who's now moved to Louisville. He was kind of our whole spring training program director. We have Sam, who's helping with the marketing and communication as well. We had, Brian Sheeter and Brian Cake helping. We have, Mark Nickerson helping as well. So there's a lot of work just to coordinate this whole program. Race committees twice for some reason. A couple other new committees we're considering is a fall training program committee. Again, maybe kind of try to expand on what we do with spring training committee. Currently for fall training, it's mainly, we have kind of a plan that's laid out for Saturdays. We do Saturday routes. People love it. It's always been a really great time ending with the Run the Monon. We've talked about maybe expanding that to, kind of work like we do with spring training with the Tuesday program, and have more Tuesday events and Tuesday speed work and Tuesday hill work, things like that. There was a small group of us that actually did it last fall, but kind of maybe formalize that a little bit more. And then another committee we've kind of discussed having is a welcoming committee. So we're constantly having new people join Indy runners. And kind of as I referred to a year earlier, we have 568 members, but I don't know 568 members. So there's a lot of people that sign up that, and there are various reasons why some people sign up and we may never see them. But there are a few people that, might be new runners that sign up and then they just don't really know where to start, or don't know, they're a little intimidated for joining a group, or they do join the group once and they don't really meet anybody, and then they just don't come back. And, we're not always great about with new runners about kind of making them feel welcome and having hopefully somebody that can spend a little time with them and kind of introduce themselves, and whether it's run with them for the first time, or at least, make sure that they're paired up with somebody that's a similar speed that can run with them, and kind of help them with a lay of the land. I think hopefully all you guys can maybe remember back to, when you first run or join a new committee or a new event, and if you don't know anybody, it can be really difficult. So it's something that I think would be really great for our club. And, even maybe help re-energize some of us old timers that, it's always kind of great to actually meet new people as well, and to, kind of get to share your experiences with other people. And again, you don't need to be any kind of expert at running or walking. You just, you kind of just have to, be welcoming and be helpful for any questions, and you can always pass the questions on to somebody else if you don't know them. So that's all the committees. The board members. Me, I'm Tracy Snyder. I'm the current president. Again, I mentioned kind of coming down to the end of my 2-year term. We have Sally Cleveland, who's a treasurer. She couldn't make it tonight. She's having some internet issues at her house. She's our treasurer. She handles all our finances. Mark Nickerson, he's on. He's currently our secretary and our membership director. Again, with a lot of these people, even if they have long titles, it's not really enough for everything they do. Mark does a ton. You see him out taking pictures of everybody. And he just does so much behind the scenes as well. Trina Rodabush, past president. She's also currently running our Butler ticket taking volunteer coordinator. And again, other things as well. Brian Sheeter, as you see, has the long list of things he does: fall, half and full marathon training program. He's a medical liaison. He's the race director. He's the Groundhog 7 director, or he's race director of Groundhog 7, charity cross country, Bulldog Jog. He's also a past club president. He's Mr. Do-It-All. I think he would be more than willing to give up a spot or two up here if anybody's willing to change up. He's maybe a guy like a lot of us, guilty of having trouble saying no when he's asked to do something, which we're very grateful of. Brian Cake, again, his official board position is the webmaster, but he obviously does a lot more for the club as well, that I discussed earlier. Sam Lozier, again, she's our marketing director, and she works with social media as well. And I kind of mentioned we have Delisa that's kind of also offered to help and join on and work with social media as well. We have Grant Carpenter, he's our sponsorship director. We have Molly Moorfeld, she's the scholarship co-director, as well as, again, she produces the newsletter on Mondays. Say Grant does it on Fridays as well. Jim Patton is our scholarship co-director. Again, does a lot of other things as well. He's really been in charge of organizing the seminars, as well as things like the shoe demos and working with a lot of shoe stores. He's been great with that for us. Angelica McMortray, she's the social director. She's also currently the spring training program director as well, and on a temporary basis. Again, we mentioned Jeff, who's down at the bottom. He just recently moved to Louisville, so she's kind of taking up the interim spot this year to finish off the program, and then next year we're going to be looking for a new spring training half marathon program director. Terry Townsend, who's a longtime Sam Costa race director, also does a lot with our Indy Walkers program for spring training program. Carol Miller is the Indy Walkers director. She is also kind of the event coordinator for our cheer zone at the Monumental as well. Andrew Scott's board director. He's also helping a lot with the race committee and just kind of helps general direction as far as where the races and everything goes. Dan Bardowa, he's the board member. He's also a huge help on the Bulldog Jog as well and doing other activities. And again, I mentioned Jeff before. He was kind of past spring training program director and just recently moved away to Louisville. So with all that being said, if you want to be more involved, join the board of the committee. We're actively recruiting all the positions. We can find a spot for you, big or small. One thing I know a lot of people think, well, no, I just don't have time to do that. There's a lot of spots where, maybe, a couple hours a month, or again, just every once in a while filling in for putting out a water cooler or signs can be very helpful for all of us. So don't be shy about, seeing where you can fit in to help. And then We do have board meetings monthly. Usually they're the first Monday of the month at 6 p.m. They usually run. We have them scheduled 6 to 8 p.m. usually. But they're a similar format as you have now. I mean, luckily in those board meetings, I'm not droning on doing all the talking. We have everybody gets involved with their action items and the whatever they're working on. But you're more than welcome to join a board member. They're open to anybody that wants to join. All you have to do is email me at president@indyrunners.org, and I can send you that Zoom link. All right, after listening to me talk for way too long, let's go ahead and hit up the Ask Us Anything question portion.
Nothing has come through in the Q&A, so it looks like we're going to go verbal. If anybody has questions, you're able to unmute yourself. Feel free to ask.
Hi, this is Delisa. And I had a question for, well, I was looking at Brian Shooter's, I'm not saying that right, Brian's plate and seeing all that he's the race director for so many different races. And I was wondering if there is like some way that maybe we can have someone that he can closely mentor so that, you know, should something, so that someone else is able to become a race director in the future, so that they can know how you go, Brian, how you go about doing all the things that you do. And that way we would have someone available if and when the time comes that Brian can walk away from it, or at least lighten his load quite a bit.
I think I can field this question. Thanks, Delisa. This is Andrew, and you're absolutely right. We would love to have more race directors, more people interested in taking some of these responsibilities from some of our members that, quite frankly, have quite a bit going on. We really appreciate everything Brian does for the club, and as you can see, he does so much. So if you or anybody else on this call or even in the club is interested in becoming a race director and learning from Brian or Terry about what it takes to run one of these races and perhaps shadow them or have them as a mentor, we are absolutely open to that. Just shoot us an email, pull us aside at a run, and we'll get it sorted out.
We have we have the ultimate starter run and something, like the groundhog where, we'd had Jesse Davis as race director and Brian was kind of heroic in like a couple months before the race to make it happen, to basically step in as the last minute race director after Jesse had left. But again, it's, as we showed earlier, it's maybe, 10, 15 volunteers. Luckily, the way Brian designed the course this year, there aren't a lot of, obstacles to run through. So, I think there's definitely some good opportunities if anybody's interested in doing race directing or learning through Brian. I mean, I think Brian's on if he wants to speak to that.
Yeah, for sure. Delisa, thanks so much. We're pretty spoiled. I'm pretty spoiled with a lot of great committee members. So it's not, that looks like a lot of things, but it's not just me doing stuff. There's a lot of people helping, and I feel like, there's any number of people that could step in and take over the old if I was hit by a bus situation. Groundhog, I will say, is pretty easy in getting your feet wet. If anyone would like to do that, it's small, and Evansville itself has expanded the rail trail, and our access to it from the school is pretty great. So the course we did this year, I think, is going to be the course, and it doesn't involve a lot of street crossings or police help really. And there's one water stop that Brian Cake does all the time, which is great. and it doesn't require a whole lot of center help on the course itself, and a lot of which we were able to get from the Zionsville High School National Honor Society folks. So it's kind of built already. If you'd like to take that over, it's pretty satisfying as we end up with a good amount of money donated to the food pantry. It used to be like an actual food donations. They would bring the truck out and we would have like literally a ton of food to give them. People would bring a bag of food items, and it would often be literally a ton. But over COVID times, they preferred the cash donations and made them a little more flexible. We just kind of kept up with that. So people are super generous. If you want to help, there's always someone that'll step up and do it. So, but yeah, welcome anyone to come out if you want to learn. If you want to learn that, it's a good place to be. Like I said, and selfishly, it's raising money for a food bank, so it makes you feel pretty good. So you get that out of it.
Yeah, and I'd say, I mean, with like all these opportunities that we listed, we talked about all the things that's going on. I mean, that's one of the benefits is, I mean, not just Brian. I mean, a lot of these people have been doing a lot of these things for a long time, and it's, you're not going to be just all of a sudden take over race director and it's all you'll have, you know, a team of us behind helping to do, you know, and directing and answering any questions or helping however we can, or like you said, whether it's a co-directing the first year or two, or, you know, whatever it takes. So that's what's great is that you have a ton of knowledge here, people that have been doing a lot of this for a long time. But Brian can't leave, just so that's clear.
That's right.
Don't want to be making any suggestions.
That's fine.
But thanks to Lisa. Anyone else have anything?
Is there
Yeah.
a spot on the website to sign up for volunteer opportunities, or is emailing the best way?
I would say,
I can.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Andy.
go ahead. I was gonna say, I think I can speak a little bit to that as well. We don't really, as far as I know, I don't think we have like a formal place on our website for volunteers. Emailing is great. As you're a club member, you get the weekly newsletters that come out too, and typically we solicit for volunteers through there as well. And we provide an email address. That is something that's more of a to-do item for us, to see if we can provide more of a central location for volunteers, not only for just like one race, but ideally like all races. So we have that as one good location you can go to see what volunteer opportunities are available, what's involved with them, and then you can just click that button to register as a volunteer for whichever event that is.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks so much.
Hey, this is Terry. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, so let me answer specifically that question about the Costa. There most definitely is a formal place that you can go to register to be a volunteer for the Costa. You just go to samcosta.com, and on the homepage, there's a button that says volunteer. So that's a specific volunteer opportunity for the Costa. Andrew, I think what you're suggesting is it would be good at some point in the future if we had a generalized method of getting volunteers for everything that we do. But if you're talking about something that's going to be happening here within the next 6 days, and you are looking for something to do next Saturday and you're not already registered to run, I would highly recommend you just go to samcosta.com and click that volunteer button, because we certainly could use some volunteers for sentries, and we could use, I think, a couple of more volunteers for water stops. And there may be even a 2 or 3 more places we might need some volunteers. So please go ahead and do that.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
There's
you're welcome.
also setup and cleanup for those who are running.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, for anything else, you're more than welcome to email me or any of the board members, reach out to them. I know as part of the VIP program, we did actually have a volunteer that was looking at a specific kind of volunteer I don't know, software. And we kind of looked into using that. Then she kind of ran out of bandwidth due to her job. So that kind of fell through. But yeah, I mean, that's another volunteer opportunity to help us get volunteer opportunities. So
I
yeah.
actually might have used some software that would be helpful to schedule volunteer opportunities. So I can email and see if that would work well. But I will check
Yeah.
that out. Thank you so much.
That'd be great. Thank you, Margaret.
Awesome. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Anyone else? Is there anything? Questions? It's very quiet.
Excellent presentation, Tracy. That was a that was a lot of information and it's really good to know.
Well, thank you, Delisa. Like I said, it was your idea. So I really appreciate that. And Mark Nickerson's actually the guy that's pretty much did all the work on this presentation. I'm just the fall guy that sits up here and spits out the words, but he's done most of the work. So he deserves all the credit.
Yeah, this is George Gill. I have just a comment or question about the spring training program. I'm amazed at how many people are signed up for that. And I know that the club has kind of changed the way you've done that last few years, where it's kind of can be part of your sign up. We don't see 250 people on Tuesdays. I imagine you still consider it a success, right? Like, are there lots of people signing up that don't really come, or?
I mean, historically, unfortunately, that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
And I know this year we just posted the survey. We're kind of going through those results. We're even at Angelica for us a couple weeks into the run. The people that hadn't been to a run, she actually emailed them to check on them and see if they're okay. And she did get a fair amount of responses, whether some people were injured, some people just couldn't make, that time, but wanted to sign up and still get the emails and still have the training plan. So I think there are various reasons. It's always been that way where, no matter how many people we have sign up, usually it seems like we get about half the first week. And then it tapers from there. Like I said, what's to me been pretty amazing this year is we kind of had a really big first week, and then kind of like from there on, we've had a pretty steady amount of 60 to 70 people every Tuesday and Saturday, which is actually been kind of beyond the norm. Usually I think last year I felt like at the end we were like, we tapered down half of that. So
Well, that's probably a testament to the variety of the program. The last couple of years, you've changed it up and offering something for the long-term runners versus the new runners. It's probably a great idea because I think that it keeps the long-term runners in there.
Yeah, we're still trying to manage that. I mean, it's kind of tricky. We, like I said, how do you, can't really please everybody, but how do you, get a program that works for as many people as possible and is effective. So it's definitely something we're still trying to, it's always a work in progress, but something we're always trying to do. So when you guys have any more feedback beyond the survey, you're always more than willing to, me or any of the board members reaching out and giving comments. Like I said, there was definitely some really good things we've seen on the survey already. We haven't had a chance to really dig in, but there already were changes we talked about making in the following weeks. There's big things like the routes came up a lot, and people like Mark and Brian Sheeter have been working hard on trying to get all the routes pre-mapped out and available ahead of times, things like that. Were feedback that we are listening. We are trying to work on improving the program. What else? Hopefully this was helpful. said it's the first time trying it, so it's kind of good having everybody aboard.
Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, I guess if we don't have any more questions, was that?
And Mark and Delisa, thanks to you guys as well for the idea.
Again, if you guys don't want to ask questions with this forum, I mean, you're always more than welcome just to send me an email, president@indyrunners.org, and I'll answer whatever I can personally. So, all right, I appreciate everybody's time. A little bit of daylight left. Hopefully you can get out and enjoy the pretty nice day we got going on. Thanks, everyone.
Great seeing everybody.